Welcome to Despite Popular Belief, where we discuss Reformed biblical theology in a culture full of opinions and agendas. I'm Stephen Lauterbach, and today we're kicking off Season 4 with a very special metal band reunion. What is this metal band reunion? A lot of you guys know, of course, I love metal. I played in a metal band for a Christian metal band for years. Banner is right behind me for those of you watching on video. To Every Cynic was the name of my band. And I put together a little reunion. This isn't all of the members, and we had several member changes through the years. Could not get them all on today, so I may have some of the other guys come on at another time, but this is one of the lineups that I had with my group back in my days in college, so thought it would be fun to have them all come on and talk about maybe our favorite memories together, what we've been through, where we're at now. I had a blast hanging out with those guys, and haven't seen them in person in years, so we had a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoy this. It's a little bit different than what we do on the show, but this is something that was very important to me for a long time, and these are some very great friends, so I hope you get some enjoyment out of this. I know I did. Let's just get right into it, and let's kick this thing off. Okay, this can be the somewhat official start.
Yeah. What are we drinking tonight, Stephen?
I have Ohio bourbon whiskey. This is from Red Feather. It's small batch, but They make rye whiskey as well. And my parents get this for me for Christmas every year. I love it.
Oh, that's awesome. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm drinking cheap stuff tonight, but it's super duper good.
Tennessee cider.
Oh, there you go.
I haven't been able to give up my my white girl like fall like pumpkin spice, apple spice, everything yet. So
oh, that's funny. Brad, you said you were bringing kombucha, and I see nothing near you.
Nothing yet.
Oh,
There's some watermelon wonder.
Oh yeah, I know that brand. That's good.
Yeah. GT's is awesome. Yeah.
I love it.
All right,
John,
and
you got anything?
Yeah, what do you got, John?
I mean, what can I say? I got pure energy right here.
Oh, Mountain Dew
energy. It's got
Solid.
it's got zinc. What else? 5% juice, always great.
Ooh.
Yes.
So
the rest
healthy.
I do not know.
Just that's awesome. I love it.
That's the health component of the drink.
I'm the biggest child here. Yes.
I love it. I love it.
I had to stop drinking caffeine. I feel like an old man. This sucks. I stopped drinking caffeine because I had like deep fatigue and brain fog and just stupid stuff. And I'll tell you, when I stop drinking caffeine, I'll have approximately 1 cup a week of coffee because I love coffee. But when I stopped drinking the caffeine, I detoxed hard. Like I smelled bad. It was bad. It was nasty.
Yeah. I had to impose time limits on it. Like I can't have caffeine after 1.
Okay.
Otherwise, it jacks with my sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So I usually, when I head to the gym in the morning, I'll have my pre-workout, which has about 200 milligrams of caffeine, and then I'll probably do like a cold brew on the way home, and then that's it.
So sounds good.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, I think introductions are in order.
Yeah.
Because just about everybody that listens or watches this show doesn't know who 2 of you are. A lot of people know Nick Robertson, but maybe we can go through each of you guys. Tell us your name, and then we can cover like how we all met and how we crossed paths.
Sounds good. Looks like John is pointing to someone.
I'm pointing at you, Brad.
Let's do it. Awesome. Well, hey, everyone. My name is Brad Johnson. I know John, Steve, and Nick from all of our old college days back at Greenville College, which is now Greenville University. Different story for another time, I suppose. But yeah, it's funny because I heard about Steve before I even met him, because I don't remember her name. But there was someone who I met early on who was like, "Oh, your hair looks like Hardcore Steve," and I was like, "Who's Hardcore Steve?" And lo and behold,
Yeah.
I never would have known at the time that I would be in a band with Hardcore Steve, but it was bound to happen. So, but yeah, I met Nick and John, through a similar capacity, and, yeah, the rest is history, as they say. So
Yeah.
Can I just interject real quick? I did not name myself Hardcore Steve. There was, believe it or not, there was already a Hardcore Steve, but they called him Stephen Knives Wallace. He went by Knives from a song that he wrote from a metal band. Oh, I can picture the T-shirt. It had something to do with... Oh, this sounds bad. Did it have something to do with murder, I think? Dress to Kill. Dress to Kill? No. Dang
I don't know.
it. I can't remember. Anyways, people came up with that name, started calling me that because I wanted to get some metal going in Southern Illinois. I couldn't find any.
yeah,
Yep.
it's hard to come by down there.
You were a major innovator.
Okay, well, you got to tell us who you are, Mr. Bass Player.
All right. Hey, everybody. I'm John Alden Davis. And yes, sir. And much like the rest of the dudes, I met these guys at Greenville College during those days. I had known Steve for ever since I don't know. Oh, well, I know we had met different times, and we had different groups in 2009, but we started hanging out around 2010 and all that. And there was a moment where the guys, was primarily Steven and Nick, were recording some new stuff, and I was like, wow, this is so amazing. And they were like, oh, well, hey, we're looking for a new bass player right now, and you want to join and get in on this? And I was like, how can I not say yes? So
yeah, we were excited to have you. You're a great bass player.
Man.
Before we hopped into session here, John kind of told us his story about getting his master at Berkeley. So the guy knows what he's doing. He knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then people have kind of heard the story of how Nick and I met just from previous episodes he's been on here. But if you're a new listener or a returning TEC fan, which I think might be extremely rare, I ran into Nick or did you run into me at some kind of lunch?
Yeah, it was one of my first, I think, lunches in the DC. And I was just I come across, I think, a poster that Mikey had drawn.
Oh yeah.
For a show that you guys were doing. I was like, oh man, I gotta check these guys out. And I don't remember exactly how it happened, but Steve basically came over to my table, and it was just like, hey, I heard you did vocals. We might be switching some things up. Let me get your contact info. Just in case, we end up kind of going a different direction and switching some things up. So he hands me his phone, and I start typing in my name. And it was one of those old QWERTY keyboards. So you had to triple tap to get to certain letters. And it was taking me forever. I had some real boomer vibes coming out with that phone. And I get halfway through, and he just reaches over and yanks the phone out of my hand. And it was I didn't even get it right. It was N1KER0. And then that's just how I got the nickname Nakarobi. Cause I couldn't spell my name in his phone. So
nice.
Nikarobi, it rolls off the tongue. I like it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That reminds me of hey, take it easy.
Hey, take what I say.
And that turned into Takaruse.
Oh my gosh. We had like a whole 3-month span of time where like every conversation we had was just naturally break quotes.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. We lived it, man.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
That's awesome.
Oh, sorry. I cut you off, Nick. I'm not trying to be a real jerk.
Oh, no, you're good. Yeah. So he ripped the phone out of my hand. I got a cool nickname out of it, and then showed up to the black room for a couple of practices and kind of hopped in and showed him what I could do, and then ended up fronting for a few shows before the official lineup change happened. Yeah. And once the official lineup change happened, Steve and I just spent like a ton of time together, just writing new material and trying out new things. And and then that's kind of how we launched into what really I think became known as To Every Cynic.
Yeah, I think that was probably the longest run of consistent members and writing that the band ever did have. That was a lot of fun. A lot of fun working with you guys. I really have not played a whole lot since then.
Not either.
but the other two, Brad and John, why don't you tell us what you guys are doing in music right now? Because you guys are both still playing.
That's true. John, you want to go first on that one?
Sure thing. Yeah.
Cool.
Right now I've been doing a number of gigs, a number of projects. Primarily, I have a backing band called Musia, and we perform with, still perform with quite a number of different people. And man, we've performed with rap artists, R&B singers, pop artists. Man, we haven't done country. That's just something that we kind of decided we wouldn't do because a lot of other people do that here, of course, in Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
And, but man, it's fun because, even within the band, here and there, whether it's just one or a couple of us will get hired by like somebody else who's like heard of us or has heard of certain members just by word of mouth and all that. And so I'm able to get a bit of freelance work even through that, which is really, really cool. And
that's amazing,
outside,
dude.
Yeah,
That's
it's
cool,
really
man.
great. And for me, I've gotten to play with, I played my first country gig last year, just as a hired hand for this big old wedding reception. And that was really cool. And I have a good friend, named Lydia. She had me perform with her at this like really fun outdoor venue. The fall, like the chilly fall weather had just kicked in. And so just playing outside with people around roaring fires, it was just really cool. And I was just like, man, okay, I can see why people like that.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's
man.
awesome, man.
Yeah.
I love
How about you, Brad? What are you involved in right now, music wise?
Yeah. So, right now I'm in a band called Second Wind. So it's kind of my brainchild band that, I kind of conceived, in 2018. I had just, recently, I was in a band called the Aperture Schematic, kind of leading up into that year. Actually, I think a little bit beyond that, but just wanted to be in a kind of simpler music, a band that was playing simpler music, but still heavy. So like melodic hardcore, or at least leaning in that direction. So we've been at it kind of since 2018, 2019. I just being a drummer, I needed to find the rest of the members. And so, I talked with my friend Dane, who's now our vocalist. We pulled a bassist, Jordan, I think we found him through Instagram originally, and then we got Austin and Adam on guitars. So yeah, really just kind of put things together little by little, and we've done the best we can throughout COVID. It's been hard to do anything live performance related, as I'm sure you guys all know, but yeah, so the music industry has really been rocked by that, but we're hoping to be back at it this year now that it's 2022 and playing shows. So yeah, very excited for what's coming down the pipeline.
That's very cool. I'll get links from you guys afterwards so I can put that on the show notes page so that everybody can check out what you guys are into. And then Nick,
Thanks,
why don't you share with us what you're getting into? Because you've been doing some big stuff here too lately as well.
Yeah. So unfortunately, like, after college and stuff like that, you got to grow up and get a real job and all that fun stuff. And so the music writing, it definitely slowed down. Still got all the old gear, still try to write from time to time, but unfortunately being involved in music in the capacity that I was, changed dramatically. But, after college, worked a couple of jobs, did a couple of things. And then about 9 years ago, we moved out to Utah, and have been rocking and rolling out here ever since. Worked a couple of jobs, odd jobs when I was out here. And then about 3 going on 4 years ago, I launched my own web design business called Wild Eyed Creative Co. And so I get to do websites and branding for photographers, videographers, and creatives, usually in general. And so we've been rocking and rolling, doing that, growing that business, having lots of fun. And I think for me, it was a good substitute. It kind of scratched that creative musical itch without actually having to be out on the road playing music and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Sure.
I myself ended up in the tech industry. I had several jobs out of college, stuff, anything from moving furniture to public relations, coordination, weird series of events. Anyways, I'm a lead service tech at a tech company, and I just fix broken conference rooms where lots of corporations conduct their business, and they cannot conduct business without a functioning meeting space. So I get to be in some really big conference rooms, top of skyscrapers, penthouse kind of deal. I won't list the clients, but you name it, downtown, any kind of major city. It's weird because I'm wearing like steel toe boots, jeans, whatever. I can crawl around in the filth. But then I'm like working under a $60,000 conference table, which is like, don't scratch the table or we'll take it out of your paycheck, and then that's when I die. That's when I die.
Yeah.
So.
Oh man. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. So honestly, I envy you guys for still playing music. I miss playing. I have not played in years, and I was just talking to my wife about this just a couple hours ago, but I kind of stopped playing music once I started having kids, because you try to get those kids to sleep and you don't want to wake them up, so you're not going to pick up an instrument the second you put them to bed. And that's not an excuse to stop playing, and I don't want people to freak out if you don't have kids yet. You're like, oh no, does that mean I'm never going to play music again? If you make yourself do it, I just started doing other things. I started this podcast out of that, so I don't regret that, but I don't know. It would be nice to make some more tracks. I don't know.
100%. 100%. I've had the itch the last few months again. It goes in cycles.
Yeah.
Like I'll get a really bad itch to like start writing again. I'll kind of get everything prepped. Like last year, I paid my Pro Tools subscription, downloaded some plugins that I needed, spent like a couple $100. Like I'm gonna write a couple tracks and put them out.
Yeah.
And then I never did. So
oh, man.
I paid like a couple $100 to get all this stuff, and then I didn't touch it. And I was like, bah. So, but the good thing is like I have it now. So whenever I do get some time and can buckle down and do it, it'll be there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gotcha. Good to know, man.
Yeah.
Well, let's make this transition here. So we kind of wanted to talk about, is it just Christian metal in general? Because To Every Cynic, I got the banner here behind me. For those of you watching on video, This is one of our stage banners. I don't know who has the other one. There's another one out there. Somebody's got it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we played metal. We were believers. Whether I was a hypocrite or not, that's a different story. Of course I was. I was terrible, man. I was terrible. It was not good.
You weren't terrible, man. I mean, we all have our things to work on, but I feel like calling yourself terrible is a little much.
I have lots of regrets from just the way that I was, and honestly, the band became an idol for me. So while I like to say that we did preach, it became an obsession for me, and it became an idol in my life. I see that now that I'm removed from it. But that doesn't mean that like a ministry can still impact people's lives. I mean, look at King David. King David was caught up in several different kinds of sin, but people still read the book of Psalms and they still get saved, and they still find comfort in the living God from that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know. So Christian metal. Why don't you guys drop a couple of names that were really influential for you? I guess back in, would it be the late 2010s?
Yeah. Oh gosh, there was a lot of good ones. And it's so interesting because like I see them today, and it's very different. You know, a very popular thing was to ride the Christian bandwagon. Right. Like you could kind of take this inroad through like Tooth and Nail Records or Solid State Records as a Christian band and get your foot in the door. And then once you got your foot in the door, then you could drop the Christian thing and then do what you really wanted to do. And, bands like, for me, I the Breather, We Came as Romans, bands that I just absolutely love. I'll still listen to some of their tracks and stuff today, but they're very different. Very different from who they were back then. Gosh, even Chevelle was one of those bands. They were like a Christian band when they started, and then just within a very, very short amount of time, it's like, oh no.
Gideon's another example. Gideon started out really strong. That was one for me. I loved Gideon, and they were like, what would you call them? It wasn't straight edge, but it was like the Christian version of straight edge, which sounds so tacky, but it was really good. I don't think they like God at all anymore. It's not good.
Yeah.
It definitely looks like they took it in a different direction. Yeah. I mean, going off Gideon, I remember reading I think it was an interview with Kerrang, and it was only a couple of years ago because they've only put out one album and I think one or two EPs since Cold, which was probably their last album where they had some sort of the, image of a Christian band, or at least some sort of association with that. But yeah, it was weird because Gideon even has a line in one of their old songs where it says something to the effect of like, God, don't let man sway my opinion. And it's like, well, you're in a different spot, which again, you have the freedom to choose that if that's what you want to do. But it's kind of like, even their name is, of a biblical origin. So it's weird how it all works, but yeah.
Well, there was another one. I just sent Steve a text a couple days ago. Crimson Armada, that first album.
Oh yeah.
Like,
yes.
Yeah. You know what I mean? It was just like, these guys were like super hardcore. I mean, like actual scripture verses, just like, I mean, they were like, and then like the second album, they're like, no. Like, just kidding. Like it was like the weirdest hard left turn ever.
Yeah. Absolutely. That music video was that song where the hook, like, forgive me. And they're just like, it's just straight up debaucherous partying. I'm just like, what's going on?
Like what?
They've taken that album off Spotify and YouTube. It's like, it's hard to find. You cannot find it. I don't know what happened, but gone.
Yeah.
Gone.
Yep.
Crazy.
Yeah. It was super weird.
I think, from what I heard, I think from that time, I think I saw something at some point where the vocalist, it sounded like something happened where God kind of let some things, how God will be. He'll let certain things happen to us to bring him back unto himself. And it sounded like something like that happened to him, which made me very hopeful. Like, oh man, okay, this is great.
yeah. Maybe he'll turn the corner again. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think their new band name is Unholy Guile.
Yep.
Same members, but different content for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man,
it's crazy.
That's so sad.
Yeah.
We were just talking about For Today, Nick, before you hopped on here.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think For Today was at the top for me in terms of exemplary, just a great example of how to balance the gospel with, I guess, a genre of music. I mean, how many times have you heard somebody say, "Oh, that's the devil's music," which is such low-hanging fruit? That's such an exhaust. Like that.
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
I don't even want to validate that. That's so lazy. If you can't understand the lyrics, read them.
Yeah, like,
look them up.
I always like to ask people. They're like, "Oh, you listen to that screamo music? Isn't that the devil's music?" I'm like, "How do you know what the devil sounds like?"
Yeah. Exactly. Right.
I was gonna say there's a guy I like. He used a lyric where he said, "They say Lucifer's got the most attractive face." So everything about you tells me that you might be fake.
Nice. There you go.
I love it.
So so let's just say it gets pretty real in metal, you know?
It does. Yeah.
Yeah.
For Today, man, like I still go back and listen to those old records.
Yeah.
You know, like
Me too.
My musical taste, I think, has changed a little bit. Like, and I think that's normal as we get older. But like their lyrical content and just the kind of people that they were, it was always kind of like this beacon for me of like, because it was like, for me as like a vocalist, as the, you know, the person in the front, like I really struggled with like wanting to look and be like somebody else. Like I had like this huge man crush on Tim Lambesis before he went nuts. Like I was like, man, I want to be Tim Lambesis. Like the guy, like he screams amazing. He's shreddy buff. He's got the coolest tattoos. Like it's awesome. Like that was always kind of like what I tried to emulate. But like with For Today, like it really was this kind of beacon for me to try to balance those two sides of myself out, like try to be awesome, but at the same time, like we're doing this for a specific purpose, and it's not so I can try to be like Tim Lambesis, you know? So
No, that's a good point.
Totally makes sense. Another one I would have to throw into the ring, and I'm also wearing their shirt, Living Sacrifice.
Oh,
you can't really see. There you go. You can see a little bit of it now, but Living Sacrifice was actually one of the first metal bands that I got into. My journey of like listening to heavy stuff started with 1,000 Foot Crutch, and it went from there.
Same here, man.
Oh, nice. It went from there to Project 86 and POD. And then shortly after that, it was As I Lay Dying and Living Sacrifice, kind of like at the exact same time.
Really?
So, and Bruce and all the guys, you know, I mean, there was a scandal with, I think I might have heard this from either you, Nick, or actually Joel Gutierrez, our other good friend, but I know there was some scandal with the percussionist in Living Sacrifice, because he had, you know, there was some like marital scandal there. I don't even know the half of it, honestly, but from what I understand, the rest of the LS guys have been, you know, faithful. And just very influential in the metal scene as a whole, both secular and Christian, I would add.
John, what was your introduction to metal? Were there any bands in particular that got you into that genre?
I definitely can say, I would say, definitely, for metal, it was definitely August Burns Red.
Okay. Yeah.
My brother was listening to the, I can't remember the full title, but that Suburbia album.
Yeah, dude.
Yes.
Yeah. My brother was like listening to that, but also listening to The Chariot.
Forgot about them.
Like the Unsung EP.
Yes.
Played that on repeat so much. And, but yeah, but August Burns Red, that was like the first like real taste of of metal for me.
Yeah.
And then dude, when Constellations came out.
I know.
Oh
Yeah.
dude, I
Game
was like,
changer.
Yeah.
yes.
Yep.
I was fully infatuated. I was just like, wow,
Nice.
okay. This is taking me places and making me feel such passion
Yeah.
and intensity.
Right.
Yep.
Nobody,
Heck yeah, man.
nobody was doing what August Burns Red did in terms of like technical, but still metalcore. I don't want to like get into the weeds of the niche market, but they really branded that style of music, and nobody has been able to do it since. They're special.
Yeah.
Nothing like it.
Yeah. And they're like, they consistently put out like bangers. Like not only are they good musicians, but they're good songwriters.
Yes.
Which is something I feel like has been lost.
Oh yeah.
In the metal industry. And I think that's as I got a little bit older too, that's one of the things that kind of pulled me away from For Today a little bit. It was just riff salad with like awesome lyrics. It was just like, it was just breakdown after breakdown after breakdown. Like they weren't necessarily like super well written songs, but again, the lyrical content and the guys themselves is what held me to it. But like, man, when Constellations dropped and like just following August Burns Red, like they were just good songwriters.
Yeah.
They knew how to structure a song, write a hook, all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
So they were a huge influence too. But like for me, like I started off like you, Brad, where my introduction to kind of the rock metal scene was the original 1,000 Foot Crutch. Yeah. And then from there, a couple of years later is when Under Oath dropped You're Only Chasing Safety.
I forgot. Yeah, we didn't even talk about them. Yeah.
Yeah. So I grabbed their record and then I was like, man, I kind of like this heavy stuff.
Yeah.
And then I grabbed Haste the Days.
Haste the Day. Another big name.
Yeah.
Yep. And then after Haste the Day, it was The Devil Wears Prada.
Yeah.
They were the ones that like solidified, like, this is the music I want to do.
They
like,
were
100%.
metalcore. They made metalcore like people. I would argue that the kick drum style that where the guitars copy the kick drum, I feel like Devil Wears Prada really brought that to the scene, and everybody started doing it after them. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think everyone else started doing it.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah.
The introduction for me was I started out with like I was getting into like Christian rock, like Falling Up and 12 Stones. I don't know if you guys remember 12 Stones.
12 Stones.
Yeah, dude.
Yep.
And then I was watching TVU, which is just Christian music videos, and then late at night they would do The Battery, which would be Christian metal music videos. So I watched it, and the playlist that particular night that I was watching started out with As Cities Burn, Bloodsucker Part 2. And I had never heard anything like that before. And I was like, what is this? And then it was followed up by Darkest Nights by As I Lay Dying. And when I heard the guitar harmony, I was like, wait, how do you play guitar harmony? So I researched, you play thirds. Okay. So I played on guitar, and I'm like, I'm addicted.
Yep.
Then Destroy the Runner. Destroy the Runner.
Destroy the Runner.
Oh, Destroy
Chad.
the Runner.
Wow.
Holy crap. Yeah.
It's a Harmony Factory, that band.
Absolutely. They are.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I'm curious, you guys. Maybe we can share what some of our favorite or most memorable moments from being in the band together are, whether it's like a particular show, a particular night, or an interaction. I don't know. Do you guys have any fond memories?
Oh God, there's so many.
Yeah, I've got several.
There's so many. The one that comes top of mind for me, I think, is probably like the most ridiculous, just like all out, complete loss of laughter control. I think who were we staying with? Was it Caleb's parents?
In the basement? Are you thinking of the basement with Phipps?
Yeah, basement with Phipps and the laptop and the sound machine.
Yeah.
And then like the air mattress just completely deflating, and then like John and I got like tacoed together in the middle of this thing.
I remember that show. It was at Gray's Lake, which was right on the border of Chicago. Yeah, I think it was Caleb's parents.
I think it was Caleb's parents' place. And God, we were up like the entire night just laughing our heads off because like it was just ridiculous. Like Danny was on the phone and he was talking to his parents and he was just going like 1,000 miles an hour in Spanish. And we're like, no idea what he said, but like it was intense. And then this John sound machine. And then it was just a really, really hilarious night where we were just like, it was just like being kids again. It was awesome.
Fun, wasn't it? Yeah.
Love it. I have a couple. I'll start with a funny one too. So if you look at how we look how all of us look now, most of our appearances have changed to a considerable degree, especially Nick's. Like the way Nick looks now is not how he looked in the TEC days.
I'm going to include pictures on this. So people watching video, you're going to see pictures.
Yes. Oh boy. So Nick used to have what I would call like long scene hair, and he was obsessed with straightening it as well. And so we were shooting our video for one of the songs off the main EP.
Silence the Killer.
And we were in some abandoned barn or house. And so Nick wanted to make sure that his hair looked great, which was totally fine, especially for the purposes of a video. And someone caught this on a B-roll camera. I don't know if it was John, Steve, or it had to have been someone else. But so Nick is kind of just doing his thing. He's got his mic. He's just kind of like dancing around a little bit. And Nick, you let a fart rip, and then you go, and Steve goes, "That's why you're single."
God.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I was really single at that point in time too.
Yeah.
Oh my. Yeah. Oh my.
Oh man.
I think I had that on video.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I think it's still on YouTube.
It probably is still on YouTube somewhere.
Oh man.
Oh my gosh.
So that was one of my favorite all-time moments for sure.
How about you, John? What do you got?
Man, shoot. I mean, there's that memory, of course, of like when this is what I remember when we played Agape Fest, which for context for anyone listening, the Agape Fest was something that Greenville College would do in the spring, during the spring semester for many years, and they would bring in these big major Christian artists and stuff, and all the parts of the music festival were run and operated by students from Greenville College.
Yeah.
Yep.
And in 2011, they decided to incorporate a third stage for hardcore and metal acts.
Yeah.
And so we got to take part of that.
Yeah.
The thing was, it was the first and last year for it.
Yep.
I didn't know that.
But I remember like when we went on, the guys who were running sound, like they said, okay, yeah, just do your sound check, and then you guys, you'll start. I think they said like, oh yeah, you can start your set in 20 minutes after we do that.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I think there was a miscommunication or I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden it was like, oh, you know what? We're just going to play. And for me, I was confused, and I was just that I'm that type of guy where I'm just like, I want to say something, because I was like, I heard he said 20 minutes, but we're going to do it anyway. Okay, let's start the set.
Yeah. There
was barely anybody in front of the stage. And so by the end of the set, there was like a decent crowd, and it was just like, all right, we're done. And I was like,
yeah.
Yep. Yep.
That was
metal-
quite the experience.
Metal does not float, does it?
Right. Well, and that was the same weekend that we shot that music video.
Oh,
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were setting up in the barn to shoot for like 8 hours at a time. And then we tear down to go play on the stage.
Yeah.
And then tear down from there and then come back and set up in Rick McPeak's barn to shoot the video. That was like we were so grumpy and so tired by the end of that weekend. It was insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
It was bad. I remember skipping out on my Agape Fest responsibilities just to do band stuff.
Yep.
Not a responsible decision, but fully admitted.
That's funny.
Oh gosh, yeah. There were so many Friday classes that I would cut short or just completely skip because we were heading out on the road or something like that.
Yeah. For
Wow,
sure.
It's wild what we crammed into a weekend too while we were in school full time,
Holy
man.
cow.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite memories. I don't know if you guys remember this. We used to drink honey before shows. I always thought that it was funny, the different stretches and honey concoctions we used to drink. But Nick always seemed to rip his pants. Somehow, crotch would get ripped somehow.
Dude, every pair of pants I owned back then, the crotch just exploded.
Yeah.
So
No, one of my favorites is the end of a show. I want to say it was the Halloween show, Dress Up to Throwdown. I can't remember what year, but you laid down on the carpet rug that was on stage, and while we were playing, and we rolled you up like a burrito, and we took turns jumping on you while you're still yelling.
Dude, I forgot about that. That was one of the best tech moments ever.
Yeah, because I was like, I had at least enough of one arm out. Like I was still doing vocals, but yeah, I got rolled up in that thing.
That's fun.
And like Caleb is like standing on me while I'm inside the that was a good time.
Oh, that's good stuff, man. No, but on a serious note, one that stands out for me was the Vineyard. I've shared this story before, but if you haven't heard the old episodes, this will be new for you. All we knew was that we were going to play at the Vineyard. We didn't know what it looked like. And when we pulled up, it was an empty car garage, an auto body shop. It had nothing in it. We're like, this address can't be right. And we found out later that it doubled as a youth center on particular nights. And a bunch of teenagers, kids showed up at showtime. It was freezing cold in there. We were all wearing our jackets. And the show ended up being really fun. The sound was terrible because it's a car garage, a lot of reverb in there. But I loved that night because it went better than I thought it was going to go. And then on the drive back, we were listening to a worship playlist. And a couple people were just singing the songs in the car on the drive back. Yeah. And I remember that moment because we just never really did that together. It was a unique moment, and that one sticks with me. I think I'll always remember that one.
Yeah, that show.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was a good show. Yeah, you had something, John.
Yeah. So this was when I this was after I had exited the band, but when you guys kept going, and this was two different instances, but I remember it was a show in the Black Room, and you guys were performing. Oh shoot, I have to remember which song it was. Oh no, I'm looking like a very bad band member right now.
That's all good.
I can't remember song titles. No, it was but it was when I think it was the lyric when it's like when there was a whole sort of build up when it's like or was it a candle without wax is just a fuse. Yeah. There was like a build up. Was it send it back? Was it the when we would yell like send it back to hell? Yeah. Like in that moment, like I came up and like came up to the stage and I was like, I'm like, and you saw me and you pointed the mic at me and then suddenly it just my mind went blank, and I was just, I was like, and like, thankfully, good old, one of our buddies, Zach Berdier, was right next to me, and he just jumped in and shouted it.
Good old Zach, man. That's awesome.
You remember when Zach was about to get married and he was going to go to a chariot show with us, and his fiance said, "Don't let him mess up his face." And at the show, the vocalist Josh Scogan took the mic stand and started swinging it around and bashed Zach right in the forehead and split it open. Right before he got married,
dude. Yes, I remember that.
That did happen.
No. Man, and like I was like, shoot, we got to go to an emergency room. We went to 3 emergency rooms. Thank you, Google Maps. You guys know my history with Google Maps. It has messed.
Yes.
It has messed with my life. The first 2 didn't exist or were closed, and then the third one we finally got to. We sat there all night, but our friend Zach was so happy to be at that show. He loved that band. He wasn't even mad that his head was busted open. He was so happy.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Zach is very resilient. Yes.
I wish I was resilient.
Oh my gosh.
Good times all around.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Is there anything you guys like care to talk about? Because I mean, we're approaching 45 minutes. Is there anything you guys wanted to talk about before we wrap this up?
Oh man,
good question. I mean, I would say so. Like being back at Furnace Fest this past year with our good friend Joel Gutierrez was kind of the impetus or the starting moment to kind of bringing this back together and just for a conversation, which is really cool. And yeah, we were just talking quite a bit at that time about how number one, it was good to just be back at shows, because like not including a show I went to in August of this past year, that I think was like the first show, or at least the first big show I had been to since prior to COVID. So yeah, it was just very powerful. Like I know everybody says that about shows, like, oh, this show was the best. Like it was so great. It changed my life. And like, it certainly can, but Furnace Fest was something special because it was kind of a mix of like nostalgia and like there were secular bands and Christian bands, but it was just incredible being back at live shows, experiencing live music again after so long of not having that. So
yeah, same here. So a couple of years ago, I flew out for my birthday to hang out with Steve, and we went to the House of Blues and saw Periphery, and that was the first show I had been to in at least a decade.
Wow.
And I haven't been to one since then. And just like being back in that atmosphere and like, oh yeah, it brought up all the feelings. Yeah. It was awesome.
I remember being tired standing, waiting for bands to set up too. And you and I were like, man, how did we do this for a decade? Yeah. We had so much energy and we could stand around all day and just listen to loud music.
Yep.
But it was a good show. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, awesome. Absolutely.
Yeah. I've yet to go see a heavy show, because the last one I remember ever seeing was when A Plea for Purging was still a band.
Yes.
Oh gosh.
Wow.
They opened for Haste the Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang. Nice.
And man, I like it's so interesting because Andy, the vocalist for that band, now he just kind of, I don't know what he does now. Well, he started his own like burger truck, but
oh, nice.
No kidding.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Like he'll go set up in like Printer's Alley, downtown Nashville, and I'm like, why don't I just go down there and just be like, just see if it's good and get to meet the man.
Talk to him. Yeah,
yeah. Because that album of theirs, Marriage of Heaven and Hell, that was like, for me, that was like the way everything was mixed and how it sounded. I was like, holy cow.
Yeah.
Good
one.
Yeah. That album was one of the first times that I heard some like black metal elements
Yeah.
start to kind of come into like our hardcore metalcore scene. I really like that. I was always super jealous of like his low screams. Like he just had such a range.
Yeah, but
to what he
you
could do
see how big
vocally.
he is? He's massive.
Yeah, he's a big boy. he's got a lot of resonant capacity in here that I didn't have.
And he's still retained that.
Yeah. So what's from what we listened to back then, right? The Plea for Purging, Devil Wears Prada, August Burns Red, Living Sacrifice. How has the musical taste changed? Like what does everybody listen to nowadays?
Yeah.
That's a great question, man.
I will definitely say, and I know that there are people who are very opinionated, but
that's okay.
Well, here's the thing. I've been listening to a lot of music within the past 5 years that has been coming out of the South Korean music scene.
Really?
Okay.
Now, and I'm talking about like solo artists, even like this one album by this guy. His name's Isaac Shin. He is a session drummer for a number of artists, or he's a freelancer in a way. But man, he wrote this mostly instrumental album at the beginning of 2021, and I've just every now and then I just keep going back to it,
revisit
that, just to listen to it, and it's just like there's such a variety to it, and I love it, and I love and I really loved most of the artists that he plays with, who are also really talented individuals. I love listening to how a lot of music that originated here in the US is being digested and in like other parts of the world, and just hearing how like how like persons are so influenced in how they write music, and including like this one artist, his name is Thama. He released his first full-length album this year, and he started out with this song that has such a D'Angelo like sound to it. Like the bass line itself is what drives the song, and it's just like, it was just so cool to just hear that. And I'm thinking, wow, it's like, man, that's so cool to to just hear that and experience that. And
that's awesome, dude.
That's cool.
Yeah, I love it.
Sweet.
Yeah, I know for me, like I went from, what we played and what we listened to in college to more, like I still listen to most of those bands.
Yeah.
But I would say musical taste for me went more progressive metal, with like Periphery, oh gosh, what was Luke Holland and Jason Richards' project?
Oh, I can picture it. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I can't remember the name, but again, it's just this very techie instrumental stuff. I would definitely say I went more the progressive metal route. Era, oh gosh, their last two albums have just holy crap, dude,
is so good.
Dude, I love those guys. Just really technical, really melodic, songwriting and music, and but then kind of like even when we were in college, I had the flip side of that. Like I'm a worship leader at my church, so I still have a lot of that acoustic stuff. But like I still enjoy listening to a little R&B every now and then. Like I love soulful like R&B singers. Like I just can't.
Johnny Craig.
Like dude.
Nice.
I can't, unfortunately, sorry, dude, but like I can't listen to Tyler Carty anymore.
I know.
So I've had to find some other artists. But yeah, like I still love a lot of that stuff. Like I still just digest everything that Dustin Kentzer puts out, from Thrice to his solo stuff. The progressive technical metal and then some of the R&B stuff, I would say, are probably like the two biggest changes from what we did in college.
That's awesome.
I was gonna say, Nick, you should check out this band called Arch Echo. They're
Arch
based
Echo?
out of
Oh,
here
yes.
in Nashville. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They're a progressive metal band, and dude, they
Ooh.
really take it up a notch. Like it's really dope. The drummer, he's such a solid dude. Like not just as a drummer, but just as an individual and a Christian, which is so cool.
I'll definitely check them out. I'm always looking for new good stuff.
I can vouch for Arch Echo as well. Going off what John said, they are next level with their instrumentation and their ability as musicians. So yeah,
that's awesome. I'm gonna pull them up on Spotify so I don't forget.
Definitely.
Yeah. So what are you listening to, Brad? How about yourself?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, similar to Nick, metalcore and hardcore has always been a mainstay for me. I haven't strayed too far from the path, no pun intended. No, I actually don't really listen to them a whole lot. They're an interesting band, but they've got some good tunes. No, but let's see. What have I been listening to recently? A lot of Intervals. Aaron Marshall is my man.
Telecaster metal.
Nick is feeling it.
Oh yeah. Love Aaron Marshall.
Yes. Along with that crowd, Pliny and C2A.
Pliny. Love them.
Oh yes.
Yes. John, you were the first guy that got me into Pliny and C2A.
No kidding.
Yeah.
It was during that era where I was just super digging into progressive metal music.
Yeah.
Like I was just like, I was finding all these different guys. And I found this split EP where Pliny and C2A, they each had a couple tracks on it, and it was just it blew my mind.
Yeah, Intervals and Pliny, man, they've got this pocket that they just live in, and it's just like, holy crap, man! Like it's so
it's
good.
cheating.
Yeah, right. Seriously, found the cheat code, and they're just button smashing the whole time, and it's perfect.
Emery did the same thing, man. Emery had the copy and paste.
Yes. Yep. And it works. Like I'm not even mad about it, dude. Like I love it.
Absolutely.
Brad, you got any more artists, Brad?
Yeah, I've got a couple more to shout out. I've been listening to a ton of One Decade, which is Andrew from The Ghost Inside. It's his side project. He writes and records, I think, everything from what I understand. So highly, highly recommend that one if you guys haven't heard his stuff yet. Who else have I been listening to a lot? A lot of Crystal Lake. So very much in the metalcore again. But Crystal Lake is amazing. And then Mirrors. My roommate Mike actually just turned me on to this band called Mirrors from Australia. I am astonished at the depth of their music. It's nothing like it's definitely like I would describe it as kind of gent meets metalcore. So it's not like completely brand new, but it's the way they do it is really good. The vocals really won me over for this band.
That's awesome.
I would definitely recommend Mirrors.
That's cool, man.
Yeah,
Australia's got some big metal moves the past couple years. Big time. I like Aviana a lot.
They're good.
And Invent Animate, their new lineup is great.
Yeah,
they just dropped a new song like a month ago, didn't they?
I think you might be right. You might be right. I haven't heard it yet.
I think they did. They got a new record coming out. Here pretty soon.
They did a small documentary on the new vocalist. I can't remember what country he's from, but he's got a very thick accent. And when he came to America, he became a carpenter. And then is a wildly successful frontman for a metalcore band. Which that's so interesting to me because I'm a blue collar worker. I'm part of the electricians union. I won't tell you which one, but if you do a little bit of research, you can figure out which one is Cleveland. So I do listen to metal. Those are some secular artists that I love, including Era. I'll get into Volumes a little bit, as long as it's not too raunchy.
I've got one of their records on vinyl. I just got it a little while ago, and I only listened to one side of it. So I do like metal. Don't get me wrong. I do give high recommendation to Wolves at the Gate has been putting out incredible bangers lately, and then Bloodlines is to me following the format of For Today in terms of
gospel and heavy,
Interesting.
like heavy music.
Okay.
Bloodlines is like I think it's my favorite band right now, which is weird and wild to say and admit publicly, but I really love what they're
publicly.
doing. Dude. Yeah.
It's kind of like, it's like a day to remember. Like everybody loves it, but nobody will admit that they listen to it.
No, I know what you're describing. But no, to like have listened to metal for so long and to have my favorites and stuff, and then this new band shows up, they're doing something very special, very unique, and I got my eyes on them. I like them a lot. Bloodlines, highly recommend.
Particular song? I just pulled them up.
Yeah, Lotus. Start with Lotus. It'll blow your mind.
Okay, heck yeah, dude.
I like them a lot, but I don't just listen to metal. I listen to a lot of what would you call it? Electronic indie and European electronic indie. It's hard to describe what the genre is. It's almost like DJing. But anyways, like S.G. Lewis is one of my favorites that are non-metal.
Okay.
The mix, if you have like mixing monitors, if you got a studio or whatever, you got good speakers. Oh man, dude, turn on some S.G. Lewis. It is mixed so well. I love it. The songwriting's cool. He does a lot of collaborations with lots of different artists. He's extremely talented. I like him a ton. Elderbrook, I like Elderbrook a lot. Is he from Great Britain or London? Somewhere over there. Don't kill me if I got that wrong. But so like during the lockdown, I don't want to call it during the virus. I got some thoughts on that. During the lockdown, I'm not denying that it exists either. During the lockdown, he shot a full set in an aquarium. So like everything's deep blue colors. He's in the aquarium and he does his full set in there by himself. And he exploded into wild success, I think, from that specific music video. And it's a great set. It's really well done. If you're just like an artist in general, if you want to see like what does branding look like, what does your music brand look like and sound like, he's a cool guy. And he dances. Kind of like he feels the music, he moves to it. I like it. I like
that's
that
awesome.
Stuff. Yeah,
love it.
That's great.
Nice,
man. I feel. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say if I can throw in a few others that are also not metal, because you got me thinking. I was like, yeah, I've been listening to a lot of heavy stuff, but not completely heavy stuff. But I would have to say, and I would say he's controversial for the right reasons, but Tom McDonald, I don't know if anyone out there is into rap.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I just discovered him within this last year and I'm hooked, man. I bought his
awesome.
I bought his two most recent albums. He's amazing. I'm normally not even into rap at all, but he's a different kind of beast. And then awesome. Yeah, on the lighter side, I would add Hello Meteor. I just discovered him. I think it's a guy that makes just all by himself, just making kind of like this dreamwave, kind of like synthy type stuff. It's really good for just chilling out, working. It's good like thinking music. So
yeah, that's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so just wanted to throw those out there too.
If you guys are cool with this, I'd like to wrap up this little reunion with maybe a piece of growth that you've made since we were all in a band together playing metal in college. Is there something that you've been, as you're becoming a man in the real world, is there something that really grew you over the past decade? Share as much as you'd like or as little as you'd like.
Yeah, cool. Absolutely. I think my biggest thing since college, personally for me, and we actually just did a men's night at church on this, something I've been talking about in counseling for years, and something that just like personal development, but like this concept of balancing the lion and the lamb, the two parts of ourselves as men, where we're, equal parts warrior and equal parts poet, right? And going back to like when we were in the band, the person that I was back then, I would say was very like lamb-esque. I was very much like a yes man. and through a bunch of stuff I've discovered in counseling, but like just stuff that happened when I was a kid, just made me really self-conscious and insecure. And so for me, life was much easier on the lamb side of things. When you're a yes man, you're a doormat, you don't have your own opinions, that kind of stuff. When you live like that, you don't get embarrassed as much. You don't have people call you out as much. Like, you're just kind of very, as Jordan Peterson would say, not dangerous, right? You're very unassuming. And so I think coming from the band, going through some experiences that we had after we got married and after we moved to Utah and went through a church split and some stuff, like really learning how to embrace the lion and the lamb, learning how to be kind but assertive, and how to take that into daily life, and when to know, like, when to be the lion, when to be the lamb, because you can't be all one or the other. Like, you have to learn how to balance it. And I think as far as what we did in the band and things that happened, I think a lot of things that came out of that were very much parts of us learning how to balance those sides of ourselves, especially when it came to communication and learning how to deal with personalities and conflict and different things like that. So like coming out of that into the real world, like learning how to be balanced on both sides of those things to be a better man. That's
great. Yeah, that's good.
Thanks for sharing, man. I guess I can go next. I was kind of trying to think of like how I would say this, because I'm definitely not going to share, what would be uncouth or inappropriate of me to share, but I'll kind of give the gist of it. And those who know me know, a lot of what went on in this chapter of my life, but including you guys. But so I guess the biggest growth chapter for me happened not terribly long ago. I was in a marriage that I didn't realize for a time was actually an abusive environment. I used to be married and am no longer married. And, everything starts off, you think things are going to be great. It's going a certain way, and you don't realize until a certain point later that the way you're being treated is actually abusive. And I was kind of back and forth in my head I was like, should I not share this or should I share this? But I feel like there's a way that these things can be shared that doesn't necessarily have to divulge like every detail that people need to know, and protecting, her privacy as well. At the same time, I think these stories aren't shared nearly often enough, especially from men who have gone through it. As an abuse survivor, my heart and mind goes out to anyone who's dealt with an abusive situation or relationship. It's something that often thrives in the dark and never comes out and is never kind of revealed to be like, this is what this person actually went through. But by the grace of God, I pursued Christ in the midst of it. I followed, a biblical model of conflict resolution. I'm standing here today, not, still kind of thinking about it from time to time. Never thought I would ever be sharing that I went through something like this, but at the same time, it's part of my testimony now. And I'm super thankful. Yeah. I'm super thankful to God for getting me out of there. And just, it's something that I definitely plan to share more with the public, if you will, as time goes on, but I'm still kind of shaping how I would put pieces of that into the message that I would share. But so definitely changed me, but I'm closer to God now than I was before. I'm more filled with his love and grace, and to God be the glory. So
amen.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for offering the opportunity.
Yeah, dude. Well, I guess I'll share a little bit of something. So for me, just growing up these past number of years, I would say that something that I've learned, especially in recent years, is to really dig in and be amongst the body of Christ. Really cleave to my brothers and sisters, especially within my church community. There was a time where when I joined my church, a good friend of mine from back when I was a junior in high school, and he was my music teacher. He was the leader for music at church. And when I moved to Nashville, he immediately was like, "Hey man, come play at my church." And I was like so hyped, because it was like, I had always wanted to, be able to just do music with him, and to be able to just, I felt like, oh man, like we're equals now. This is so cool. Like for years, I was just like, man, I can't wait to just be able to work with my buddy Jordan. Well, there was a time around 2019 where he and his wife felt led to go back into doing songwriting, and thus he felt the need to step down from his position. And that was really hard for me, because, but at the same time, I during that time, and like during these past 2 years, I had come to the realization that part of the reason why I was even going to church was because he was there, and he was dictating what was going on with the music. And I would even at times, we would play at youth camps together during the summer as well. And so I'd also would get paid through that, as aside from, the different day jobs I've had. And so I realized, oh wow, I kind of, in a way, it was like putting a good amount of focus and trust in my friend, not enough in Christ himself. And not really also just not really digging into the other relationships I had at church. And so I'm very thankful for the fact that God used that to really in a way, just kind of shake me out of that. And
shake some things loose.
And man, I'm now I'm just like, I always look forward now to getting together with my church community group. And we just talk about what was spoken on the previous Sunday each week. And it's just such a sweet time together. And it's just like, I feel like I'm very much a part of a family now. Rather than it just being some type of just like, once a week church congregation get together. It's more of a, I'm getting to be with my Christ family, and I'm going into it with so much joy, so much excitement, because I know that there's going to be something from that where I get to be edified, I get to be built up, but at the same time, I get to do the same for others. And
amen.
That's awesome, so dude. And man, I just I love my church family. They're they're great,
dude.
It sounds like you're
on,
embracing a community there. Which is something I think a lot of American church lost the past 2 years.
For sure.
Big time.
Thanks for sharing, John. That's big.
Yeah, no, that's a really critical life lesson too, especially in the church. Big time.
Yeah. Big time. Yeah.
Well, you guys have already heard my story. I did a testimonial episode a while back. I'll link that in the show notes here if you want to hear my story of, I guess, the growth that I've been through, the stuff that I went through. You guys already know who I am and what I've been through. I love you guys. It's been so good to catch up with you. Thank you for carving out the better part of an hour
Man.
to just
Totally
hang out and chat and, I don't know, nerd out about some Christian metal.
And that felt so short.
I know, it really did.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, we're going on like hour and a half at this point. So,
Yeah,
it's
this
great,
was
guys.
Funny.
totally. Thank you for hosting, Steve. This was great.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you guys made it this far, thank you so much for sticking around. Like I said, I'll probably have some of the other guys come back onto the show maybe to catch up with them. Really cool guys, and it's just really interesting to see where everybody ended up. And anyways, I know it was a long episode, so I'm going to keep the ending just as short as the beginning was. And if you'd like to support this ministry, if you like the content, we do have a Patreon page, patreon.com/despite popular belief. And you can join our base ministry support group. Really, it's just $5 a month, and you get bonus episodes, bonus content, sent out stickers to you guys. I got some more free gear shooting out through the Patreon page as well. But yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that. Hope you guys had a great New Year. I hope you guys had a great Christmas. Hope it was drama-free. We'll be in touch. We got big plans for season 4 here. Just wanted to kick it off with a little bit of metal. I got nothing else for you, so stand before kings.
This has been a Manifold Ministries podcast. For more content, visit us at manifoldministries.com.